Chaos Show on radio here on Talk Radio between now and 10 o'clock tonight. And also, of course, if you're able to watch us on a YouTube channel, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all kinds of things, we are breaking the news with the James Well television show as well. So very good evening. Tonight, we have got all kinds of interesting people on the show, and I found out a very interesting thing to begin with, that I am the youngest in the studio. So I think that is very, very good. Tonight we're going to be talking about these items, okay? Jeremy Corbyn, can he really save Brexit? And does anybody want him to? Also, Greta Thunberg, or Thunberg, is she not the most annoying teenager in the world at the moment? Some say that is terrible to say such a thing, but I'm just asking you the question. And is it time to get rid of the TV licence? I have just been asked by the BBC to prove that I am eligible to get paid from the BBC can I prove I live in this country? I mean, how ridiculous, and I can't prove it anyway. Should chicken takeaway boxes warn young people of knife crime dangers? And should Steve Coogan escape a driving ban because he is a celebrity? Those are some of the questions we'll be talking about on James Well Breaks the News tonight on Talk Radio and, of course, on television as well. Now, Mr. Ricky Freelove is here, and Ricky, of course, is hanging out near our window. Where are we? There we are, Ricky. And you're going to take care of social media, aren't you? Yeah,
that's right, James. I'll be keeping an eye on your thoughts on social media throughout the evening, so you can get involved. You can tweet us at Talk Radio. You can message us on Facebook, YouTube Live, and, of course, Periscope as well.
Yeah, I think that was a bit quick. Could you do that slower?
What's Periscope?
Periscope, it's a form of watching videos, live streaming videos.
Never mind, don't talk to Jerry Hayes. Let me introduce you to the panel. Sean Bailey, Conservative candidate for London Mayor in 2020. An old mate of mine. Sean, thank you very much indeed for joining us tonight.
Pleasure.
Nick Dubois, who's not French, ex-Chief of State to the Secretary of State, Dominic Raab, and author of Confessions of a Recovering MP. Funny. Nick and Jerry Hayes here have got an enormous amount in common. And also, we have got, joining us on the panel, she was just going to play some music a little later. She's still going to play the music, by the way. Mandy Boylett, who is a YouTube sensation. She makes up songs about Brexit. She wanted to be a UKIP MEP, and probably tonight I'm going to ruin her political chances, like I did for Jerry Hayes about 25 years ago.
I did it all on my own, James.
Now, can we start off by asking the question, Jeremy Corbyn, can he really save Brexit? I'll tell you what, Sean?
I mean, the serious answer is, does it need to be saved? I think people I speak to just want some kind of resolution. But if you look what's happened, nobody's going to support him. And now he has the problem that if he tables this no confidence vote and he loses, Harriet Harman will have him. that's his real problem. So I don't think he'll get anything up against Boris. I think Boris has had a good start, and I think the country has never really been serious about Jeremy Corbyn. I think he has always been a protest vote. We scared ourselves by nearly getting him in last time. I don't think we'll make that mistake twice.
Nick?
Jeremy Corbyn, I don't think will even call a confidence vote. I think he's playing a game. If he was serious about these talks, he would have had them secret and try to build up a majority, which he'll never get for his confidence vote. I think what he wants, because he is someone who wants to leave the European Union, I think he would like Boris Johnson to take us out of the European Union and then go for an election after that. So he can say, nothing to do with me, Gov. He hopes it'll all go wrong, whereas it's going to be a tremendous success. And then he can come in and try and get elected on the back of that. I think this is all gamesmanship.
Who do you think would be the best leader of the Labour Party, if not Jeremy Corbyn?
I don't think there is a serious candidate who wants to be leader of the Labour Party at the moment. It's a mess. They are absolutely all over the place. I can't see one emerging. It's really hard to see where they'll go. I still reckon if Jeremy Corbyn goes, we could end up with John McDonnell. And do you know what? Do you know what? That is even worse than Jeremy Corbyn.
Do you think that really, Jerry? I'll come back to you, Mandy, in a moment, but the two old, failed members of Parliament, do you think that's...
I'm only here for care in the community like you, mate. And I'm going to have to get this out of my system. I'm going to have to mention the C word. I can do it, can't I? Conservative.
Yeah, okay,
right,
fine.
Right, okay. Jeremy Corbyn doesn't want to leave. he doesn't want to. What I'm talking rubbish. Of course he wants. No, he doesn't want to leave.
Do you remember the time at the Conservative Party conference when you went up there to give a speech and you forgot every single word?
Yeah, I just did that there.
Never
Look,
mind.
Jeremy Corbyn
Yeah.
is a Brexiteer. I was in the House of Commons with him for a very long time. Every vote he was against Europe. You know why? Because Europe will stop him with his socialist plans to subsidise. That's what he wants to do.
Mandy.
Jeremy Corbyn doesn't want to leave the EU, but he does want to be Prime Minister, even if it's for a day.
Even if it's
like
for
Boris.
a day.
Even if it's for a day.
And he can do a lot of damage in a day.
He can do a
Or
lot.
Boris.
If he's Prime Minister for a day, he will want to go to the EU and try and postpone Brexit in order that he's Prime Minister and he can then bring about a general election. For my money, any Tory MP, even the Remainers, if they would back Corbyn to be PM, even for a day, when he's a Marxist anti-Semite, it would be absolute. If he really, really passionately believed in staying in the EU, he would say, oh yes, we'll have the father of the house or the mother of the house. But no, he won't go for that. He just wants to be Prime Minister.
Mandy, can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
Could you not hold back so much? Just tell us what you think. That'd be fine. Sean, I've forgotten your views on Brexit. Where are you on that?
I'm a leaver. I voted to leave because I come from a poor community who feels forgotten. I'm of Windrush descent, and we feel like, I can't speak for everyone, but I come from a community that is made up of Windrush descent people from poor backgrounds, etc. And we felt like we're in a competition that we were never going to win, and we felt rejected. So
you don't actually feel that if we leave the European Union without a deal, that actually some of those people might be even worse off?
Here's the thing: what I want is a deal. A deal will be best case scenario, but you're unlikely to get a deal if you take any of the options off the table. That's the tragedy of the mistake we're in now.
Threatening no deal is a complete disaster. It's like going into the negotiating table, playing Belgian roulette. Every single chamber is loaded. And putting a gun to your head. If you don't give me a deal, I'll blow my brains up. That's what we're doing at the moment.
Jerry,
and it is insane.
Jerry, I was in that negotiating room. I was sitting opposite Michel Barnier and his crew when we had that excellent Secretary of State, Dominic Raab, there, who asked the questions and laid the challenges that Theresa May, frankly, never did. And I can tell you this, they didn't believe for a minute we were going to leave. It was not on the table, as far as they were concerned, that we were serious about leaving. Even now, even with Boris having made it clear we're coming out on the 31st of October, there's so many over there who think Parliament can still stop it.
OK. I say this every week, and hopefully, eventually, we will get past Brexit and we can talk about other, probably more important things. When it started off, I was a leaver. I thought it's the most ridiculous situation to actually put our country through what it's gone through. I am now a rabid Brexiteer. I think if we left tomorrow, it would actually show the European Parliament that we're not going to be messed about. We're not going to be treated like some tin pot country. We are going to get out. They will have to do a deal with us because we are the 5th biggest economy of the world. I'd like to hear your thoughts. You can get in touch. You can text us, of course. You can also go on Twitter. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook. And I think we have some of your thoughts coming in now. Ricky.
Yeah, we'll start off with Rob G, who says, why is Jerry holding on to James's hand like my nan does?
Because we're
Hang on. Look, no, I'm going. No.
Look, Rob, all I'm going to say is I'm not sure your nan isn't on the panel tonight. I'll leave it at that. Victoria has said on Twitter, didn't Lenin seize power like this? Then look what happened. I'm not quite sure you've got that right, Victoria, but I see your point. And Susan has also said on Twitter, she says, it's not going to happen, James. Boris has fought hard for this and he will not cave in under any circumstance. Boris will come through and lead us out of this, I'm sure. He would never let that Marxist in through the back door.
Oh, well, that's encouraging.
Yes, and stop holding. The reason I hold on to his hand occasionally is I've worked on television with him a long time, and he is thoroughly annoying, and but he is quite entertaining. So we have to sort of bow to his inadequacies from time to time.
Thank you, James.
Right, keep coming in with your thoughts on Brexit. And we'll come back to that because Mandy's going to sing some songs. But I want to talk about this subject. It's been on the front page of the Times. It's been on the front page of many other papers as well. Greta Thunberg, the young girl who is going to cross the Atlantic, or is in the process of crossing the Atlantic, to bring and highlight climate change so we can all do something about it. Isn't she the most annoying person in the news at the moment? Now, if you say that, everybody gets really upset on social media and says, how can you talk about a 16-year-old like that? Well, quite easy. This came out of my mouth. Mandy, what do you think?
I think she should be in school. I think she should be in school getting an education. Why she's allowed to leave school? I mean, she's got mental health issues. She's on Asperger's. She's got the obsessive-compulsive disorder, which perhaps explains why she's so focused on this, to the exclusion of all the other things that should matter to a 16-year-old girl. And I would say to her parents, get her in school, let her do speeches in her country, you know, at the weekends, if that's something she feels passionate about.
Some people will say you're bullying her saying things like that and that you're not being very respectful.
No, she should be in school. How old is she? 15?
16.
16. Well, she should still be in school.
Jerry and I were out in the mines at 16.
People should be in school till they're 30, to be honest. She should definitely be in school.
I don't know why people are getting so upset about it. I mean, look, we bunked off school for different reasons, didn't we? It was down the cinema, you know, go for a smoke or whatever
wonder
it was.
what happened to you, Nick.
You may have done.
So she is bunking off school, but she's actually doing something that I think is you know,
Is it
really
actually
passionate.
going to make any difference?
Well, probably not.
No,
I mean, there's a lot of like virtue signaling going on with you. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of what's going on, but actually, I don't know why people are getting so angry or upset with her because she's doing this. The fact of the matter is, she's kind of really going for it. Let her go for it. It's not doing any harm. She might even do some good.
OK. Ricky's a young person, should be in school. He's not 35 yet. Ricky, what do you think?
Well, I don't, honestly, I have no idea how people think it's acceptable. Actually, James, I'm surprised by you. How many times we've covered this story in the news about young people being bullied online? If I say to you there's a 16-year-old girl who's autistic, it doesn't matter what the context is, there's a 16-year-old girl that everyone is just bullying willy-nilly and no one seems to care about it.
What is, in your view, bullying? Is bullying when you take a different view? Because if you're going to go into the media and make statements, you must expect people to come back with a different point of view. I don't think that's bullying. Do you?
But I also think there is a point
where...
where...
do you think that's bullying?
Well, I think there's plenty of horrible comments.
Do you think that's bullying, Ricky?
There's plenty of horrible comments on...
bullying,
There's
Ricky?
plenty of horrible comments. Somebody's saying that, wouldn't it be awful if, she had an accident at sea?
It would be terrible, but nobody's wishing that on her. We're just talking about what the situation is.
Yeah, but it's awful in any other circumstance. If it was, say, your granddaughter, James, you would not want middle-aged blokes all over the country laughing and sneering at a 16-year-old girl like that.
Blokes?
My granddaughter, I think she should be in school.
Hang on. Let's go to a middle-aged man over here.
Let's separate these things out. James is right. There's no circumstances where attacking this girl for doing something she's passionate about is the right thing to do. She's trying to bring focus on the issue that she's passionate about. Many young people are. Many people are. That part of it is fine. I worry about... I mean, for me, she's a bit brave. There's no way you get me in a boat out in the middle of the Atlantic. That's the first thing.
Nor would I.
It simply wouldn't happen. But the other piece of this is, look, she's trying to highlight something that's important. What are we all doing about it? And she, in one way, she succeeded because we are having the conversation and we continue. And hold on. Yeah. She is making us talk about the environment, and that's what she wants us to focus on. And she's had quite an impact. You know, there's not many other 16-year-old girls who are having this impact. There are other bits about where her parents, should she be looked after, and all the rest of that are private stuff. But I have to go back to the internet piece about bullying, because I've been a youth worker for over 20 years, and one of the biggest changes from when we were young today to when today is the amount of bullying and what is said to young people and the effect it has on them, and they try to hide it. People are now attacking their mental health, and that's not correct.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between bullying, which you're absolutely right, shouldn't be happening, but she's put herself out there making a case.
Well, fine,
she is patronised. Yeah, well, if you look at her history, she's actually started this pretty much on her own. She has, I agree, been taken over and captured by others. But equally, She should face up to some of the criticism. People should make legitimate criticism and challenges of what she's doing. But the bullying is totally out of order.
To be clear, if someone's legitimately challenging her points around environment, or should she be alone doing this, that's fine. But even then, when you do that, how do you do it?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, is it safe for her to be there? Is a question.
Well,
saying
she's there
we
with,
hope she has an accident.
Sailor,
and her father's there, isn't
so
it?
she's being looked
Her
after.
father's
Again, but they have an answer. Asking those questions are
The
fine.
one good thing she's doing is she's getting people to talk about it. But the problem with this particular issue, if you actually question it, if you actually have any view other than the majority, you are suddenly bullying or you're suddenly a climate change denier. I wouldn't deny the climate changing. It's changed all the time through the history of this planet and will continue to do so. Some of the things that people think we should be doing, will it change anything? I'm not sure it will. Cherry Hayes is desperate. Go on.
No, I just think she's being patronised. And what really annoys me about the whole thing, James, is that it's as if she is just suddenly, one morning...
Could you keep your hands...
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Jenna?
Sorry, you only have to grab hold of me again.
Dear
All right, okay. Look, she has suddenly discovered this wonderful truth. Rubbish. I was in the Department of Environment years ago with John Selwyn Gummer. We started...
Look what happened to him.
No.
Eating hamburgers.
No. But we started Kyoto. We started taking notice. This government actually has got a very good record. But do we hear anything about it? No. It shouldn't be this girl who's going to see the Pope, who's going to speak to the United Nations. It should be David Attenborough.
If she's going to speak to anybody.
All right, let's get
We've all been talking about it, Ricky.
Just a minute. Let's get some social media on this, Ricky, please.
Yeah, we'll start with Tim on Facebook. It says, these old men hunt in packs to stalk, harass, intimidate and threaten a teenage girl. Twitter should intervene and so should the police. It's disgusting. Emily's got a great point. She says, why are you so riled by her actions? She's only one human. Her capability to reverse our climate emergency is tiny, but her ability to spread the message is huge.
Yeah.
OK, well, I would agree with that. But there has to be debate about it. We have to talk about this. Not everybody agrees with the way things are going as far as climate change is concerned. And what worries a lot of people, I think, and please get in touch. You know, you can get in touch on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, on any way you want. Ricky will see them. We'll use some of them in the programme. But, you know, we have to discuss it. There could well be ways that people are going to start taxing us for all kinds of reasons more than we are because of this. Right, we'll take a break. Don't go anywhere. Come back here on Talk Radio in just a few moments.
90s porn track.
Very good evening to you. Welcome back to the James Well Radio Show on Talk Radio, and also to break the news on TV. And if you go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook site, our website, everywhere you can see it. The guests on the panel this week are an interesting bunch. Sean Bailey, Conservative candidate for the London Mayor 2020. Nick Dubois, former Chief of Staff to Dominic Raab when he was Secretary of State. Jerry Hayes, who's a criminal barrister, a failed Conservative MP.
I knew when he had hair.
Mandy Boylett, Brexit YouTube star, former UKIP candidate who is going to sing for our delectation a little later. And the very young Ricky over here, who is in charge of social media. And I'm told, Ricky, after your outburst earlier, we have some comments about you too.
Well, just the ones about me. We've got one from Helmet. It says, Poor Ricky the Snowflake. Paul GB. Yes, that's his real name. Unfortunate for him. Paul GB says, Snowflake Millennial on the laptop. And Danny says, classic snowflake on the James Well. So I am officially a snowflake. So apologies.
And he is a snowflake. He's proud of it. Now, we're going to talk about the TV licence now, if that is okay with you. Mandy, have you got anything you'd like to say about the TV licence?
I think we should. I think the TV licence is a thing of the past, or should be a thing of the past. I think we should all be free to choose which channels we want. If we want to watch the TV, we don't want to watch the BBC, we shouldn't have to pay for it. The BBC is no longer impartial, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
I think they've got a left-wing agenda. I think they've got every single programme you watch seems to have some sort of left-wing agenda attached to it. It irritates me to the stage where I think I don't want to watch it anymore. We turn it off when they start on with their left-wing stuff.
Nick Dubois, former Secretary of...
I nearly was a Secretary of State. You were about to appoint me, weren't you? Wouldn't
this is the thing. Have we allowed... I mean, I think we should have a channel that is run without commercialism. Absolutely right. But we have allowed the BBC to get so massive, haven't we? It's almost uncontrollable.
They're also incredibly stupid, and I realise this is now...
Well, that's the end of your career on the BBC.
But look, they have just learned that the average age of their audience is 61, and hardly any... Well, a lot less people under 45 are watching. They're all going to Netflix. So what do? They abolish the free TV licence, give themselves big pay rise, and they're just attacking the remainder of their audience.
How can they justify the sort of pay rises that they have just given?
Well, the point is they don't have to justify.
Exactly.
That's the point. They don't. We have no say. The government vote through a 5-year deal or 10-year deal or whatever it is these days, and we have no say. The only thing we can do is march with our feet and not watch it. As it happens, there's still a lot. No, seriously, if you want to protest, that is the only way you can protest.
I don't protest against the BBC.
Well, of course you
think they're all lefties.
Oh, you want it all the time?
Yeah, well, all right.
Could I just make a point? A lot of people getting in touch saying you don't have any left-wing opinion on the panel tonight. No, that's what other channels do. We should have. But Jerry Hayes is pretty left-wing, so I think that balances it up.
Absolutely right. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, look, the left think they're right-wing and the right think they're left-wing. They're doing something right. The whole business of the licence is going to fade away anyway, because the people are, nearly Ricky's age, don't watch TV at all. They don't.
They listen to radio.
It's definitely anti-Brexit, though. You must agree with that.
I think most people with a brain are anti-Brexit, Mandy.
There we go.
Oh, dear. I'm in a minority. And here's Sean, who's standing for Mayor of London, which is a Remainer city, and he wants to get elected.
And this is the we're all stupid argument, isn't it?
I feel quite offended by that.
Come on.
Let's talk about the BBC for a second. Look, the BBC is a national treasure, and they've done lots of things, and there's lots of work they do in the background that we don't know about, technical stuff, developing standards, and also I think that our international reach, our soft power, is greatly boosted by the BBC. I think the challenge for the BBC, as Nick said, is who is their audience? They seem to have alienated a large part of their audience. They need to do something about that, and I think they have issues around relevance. And if they don't figure out who and how they can be relevant, there will come a time where the licence fees looking very, very extra.
Is it acceptable, though, for us all to pay, 150 quid or so licence fee to them, and then they go off with a commercial arm, they make programmes, sell them abroad, and we actually are funding that? Maybe we are shareholders and we should be actually given some money back.
If long as that money is being tipped back into the BBC to lower the cost that we have to all tip in the first place, I'd say yes, largely. But I do have a problem with the massive pay rises. Nobody else in the public sector can get them, and certainly nobody in the private sector. You know, workers, normal people who have to make ends meet are getting that kind of pay rise. And I think it's actions like that that put the BBC under scrutiny.
It's never real money when it's taxpayers' money.
Just before you talk, I shall be applying for the job of Director General of the BBC when it comes.
James,
Don't hold your breath.
If they offered you a prime time show, you'd be there like a rat up a drain pipe,
No,
wouldn't you? Yes,
no,
you
I'm
would.
not.
Oh, yes,
No,
you
I wouldn't.
would.
I wouldn't.
You would.
Let's see if they do it. At the moment,
Don't hold your breath.
I'm trying to get some payment from the BBC at the moment, but apparently I've got to prove that I am eligible to work in this country.
I thought it was very weird why we were doing this story tonight, because it's not in the news, is it? So I thought it was very weird
No,
why we
it
were
is in
covering
the
it.
news. No. It's in the news because, but you know, if they want to tell me how I prove that, let them know. But it's in the news because a pensioner, I think it was in the Times last week, said he'd had 100 threatening letters from the. Although he gave up watching television in 1997, he told them he didn't have a TV. But every year they send him threatening letters saying you could get a knock on your door anytime, day or night.
Terrible.
And apparently you have to get on and tell them all the time because they don't trust any of us.
Some people are quite intimidated by that approach as well. Especially
Well,
elderly people.
you wouldn't get any of the utilities sending the sort of threatening letters that TV licensing do, would you?
No, I think that's very bad practice.
I do too.
Yeah, well, look, they're unaccountable. We've got a pretty tame government that says give them money. We give them money.
They're like Brussels.
Well, that's true.
They're not elected.
None of them are elected in the
I
commission,
think
you know.
Mark Francois should be put in charge of the BBC.
You've sorted
That's
it
a
now.
good
The
idea.
BBC and the EU Commission are run very similarly.
Well, that's a very good point. Let's go to Ricky for a bit more social media coming in tonight. Ricky.
Yeah, all very quick ones here. We'll start off with Swift Raptor, who says the BBC is sickeningly leftist. Charlie Burton says pay as you go is the only way for us to go. Wakey's still surprised that people actually watch TV. I presume that's a reference to Netflix or so. Bernice says no one watches BBC, only the oldies, which actually explains why all of our panel still watch it. And Mim says I only watch EastEnders, but I'm only giving it till Christmas, then I'm done. But I'm just thinking, what if it's a good storyline at Christmas?
Thank you very much indeed. Next week, can I say, on the panel, we will have everybody under the age of 30. So no, you can't come on next week. Anyway, never mind. Let us move on to another topic. And this one, I got quite a telling off by one of my callers last night on the radio. This is all about the chicken shops, the takeaway boxes warning young people of knife crime. Now, knife crime is an epidemic amongst some areas of this country of young people. And anything that stops it or helps to make people think about it, in my view, is a good thing. Now, why putting warnings on boxes of fried chicken in chicken shops is racist, I actually have no idea. But that means I shouldn't go into a chicken shop, I suppose. Maybe I'm not allowed to eat chicken, I don't know. I just don't understand. If you were to say to the mother of a child who'd just been stabbed to death, would you like us to do that or would you find that offensive? I am sure that she would say, I would like you to do anything you can. Chicken shops, hamburger shops, pizza shops, takeaways, curry houses, Chinese, you name it. Anywhere you think people will look. Sean, what do you think?
I think let's establish some facts here. I think that where this came from is the chicken shops themselves were already doing this initiative, and they asked the Home Office for more money so they could spread it out. I spoke to a young person that I deal with all the time, and he pointed out to me, everybody goes to the chicken shop. This young fella happens to be white. And he said, everybody goes to the chicken shop. It's on the way from school. I remember sitting in the assembly, people saying, should we remove them? Because there's so many of them there, schools, obesity, etc., etc. So I think anything that gets the message out there, we have to look at. I mean, you have a number of businesses who are trying to help us solve knife crime in London. I would always accept that help. That's what I would say as well. And if you look at cigarette boxes, now I'm a man who's never smoked,
Good.
But I look at those cigarette boxes, you know, with people's toes falling off and personal stories, etc. And I tell you what, I wouldn't start smoking because of those stories. You have to get this information in front of people, and you have to find people where they are. I think what's happened, people have used this for their own political gain. It's a bit of a shock jock thing. Oh, I'll get out there and I'll rob this I'll rub everybody up the wrong way this. I think they need to look at where it came from and what are we doing to help stem this flow. Because the knife crime we have in London in particular is becoming the norm, and we have to do something about it urgently.
Now, a lot of people say that this is, a lot of community leaders are the ones who are saying, oh, this is racist and everything else. I've got this thought, and I might be wrong, I don't know, but some community leaders who are self-appointed and say they talk for various sections of our society are beginning to get more like dictators, aren't they?
Well, certainly in the public arena, because if you represent a group of people, that's your power, isn't it? And of course, community leaders, like most things, have a hierarchy. So if someone at the top of your perceived list comes out, you now have to make a decision. Do you support them or not? And you probably would support them. I would just say this. As adults in London, what do we think? Do we think that our young people need to have this message? Do we think this is a good way to do it? And I go back to the comment that my young friend made. His name's Ronald. Ronald said to me, everybody goes to the shop. I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, black, white, blue, green, we all go there. And if you go anywhere across London, whatever respective community is around that shop, you probably find them in
Sure,
there.
it goes beyond that, doesn't it? Because the whole point of this happening within the chicken shops is it is the chicken shops where the gang leaders prey on these young people.
Correct.
Very often they've been excluded from school and they end up in the chicken shop. Now,
Do they prey on them at McDonald's then?
What?
I mean, if you know, why
They
would
should
it be
be
a chicken
everywhere,
shop?
Mandy.
Why
Everywhere
would
they should be.
Why would they not prey on them at a hamburger joint or anything else?
Because they're not as widespread, and McDonald's have staff.
Yeah.
These places don't.
Yeah. Can I just ask one other question before we go on, Nick? Sorry, this is Sean. There was a tragedy in Newcastle upon Tyne where a guy's just been stabbed with a screwdriver. It doesn't matter what the weapon is, really. It's the fact of using it. We have got this epidemic. Why do you? And if you were the mayor of London, you're going to have to address that. Is there anything you can think of that you would do?
There's two things. At one end, it's about what do we do about reassuring the public? What do we do about destabilising criminals? Anything from the Enfield law to more police officers to better community engagement. And on the other end, it's about saying to our young people, let's do something about restorative justice. Let's do something about workplace entrance. We need to get the communities that are the furthest away from being involved in work and long-term support into those situations. We have the money for that. But the key thing is, how do we support parents? Parents are around all the time. Parents are who start and build communities. How do we support them? That's the kind of thing I'll be doing to make sure we support parents so we could spread this message, because we can defeat this. It's been defeated before, and I'm positive we can do it again.
Nick?
Look, I think the people we should also be listening to are many of the groups in areas that have been born out of a tragedy. So friends, family who've lost someone. Tomorrow on the show that I'm doing on Talk Radio, normally Alexis Conran's show, we've got Yvonne Lawson coming in. Her son Godwin was tragically killed in 2010. People like Yvonne, who are working in the communities, know how to reach the kids that, frankly, the suits and the politicians can't do. And as for chicken shops, if you look at it in isolation, you might think, hey, that's a bit daft. But actually, in the context of everything else we're doing, you're reaching the 16 to 24-year-olds through this, and it's a very good method of doing it.
You know, I'm fascinated that a couple of months ago, if we talked about bringing back stop and search the way Boris has brought it back, people would have still got very annoyed about it. Today, people accept anything is going to help, anything at all.
That's not right,
Sorry,
actually.
Mr. Socialist, yes?
No, it's not. That's not right. And I deal with these sort of cases
I know you do.
by prosecuting and defending them. One thing community leaders are saying, OK, let's have stop and search. But don't forget, it was Margaret Thatcher in 1984 who got rid of the sus laws. And many people in the community feel that they are no longer able to assist the police because they feel there is an occupying force. You and I know that's nonsense, but sure, you know that. That is how some people think. So if you're going to have stop and search, it can't just be blanket. The police need intelligence, and they're not going to get intelligence from people if people are not prepared to talk to them.
Ricky?
Well, I heard a great story about, I don't know where it was, I think it was around South London somewhere, where they were sending surgeons into schools to show videos.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a fantastic policy, where you have these soft and hard policies. I say stop and search is a hard policy. These soft policies of sending messages during school assemblies is such a great way of educating kids and see the horrible brutality of what knife crime really is. I think it's a great way of doing it.
Sean, final word from you.
I'd
on
say
this.
this. If you take the concept of soft and hard and stop and search being at one end, there's two things. We need to use more technology to provide us with that intelligence without having to harass or make communities feel like it's an occupying force. But to be clear, I come from a youth work background. I'm clearly a member of the black community. We are having a very different conversation about stop and search than we were years ago. Are we loving it and looking forward to it? No, but we know it's necessary. And to be clear, it's not the only thing that could be done. I, as Mayor of London, would look at how the police are trained to make that whole process better. But the most important thing is to speak to young people. We always talk about young people as the perpetrators of crime. Most young people's relationship with crime is as a victim. And if we involve them in the process, it means we'll be much more accurate in who we go after to make the streets of London safe.
Do you know what I'd like to do on a future programme? I'd like to get some ex-gang members on and talk to them about it. I think that's what we will do. Have we got a couple of messages left before we go into the break?
We've got some other bits and pieces that have come in from the Greta Thunberg, which is still going on
Yep.
Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Lee on Twitter says, there isn't a 16-year-old out there that has the wisdom of an adult. Get a grip. And Utah says, James and Ash should fly out and do the show from her boat. Take Philip from South Norwood along too.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to poo in a bucket, so, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Talk Radio, and, of course, James Well breaks the news on TV. Right, I've always wanted to be on the panel of a programme like this. I make a lousy pundit because I can't stop. But anyway, now we're going to change tack for a moment and bring you a little bit of entertainment. And who knows, this could offend you, it could actually make you laugh, it could make you very annoyed. Whatever it does, we'd like to hear on social media. Get in touch through YouTube, get in touch through Facebook, get in touch through our website, through Twitter, any way you want to get in touch. Now, you might see that Mandy Boylett has actually, which camera where? That one okay? That one over there. It's so far in the distance I can hardly see it. Mandy has left the panel to go right over here. There we are, that's Mandy. She could be a Spice Girl, but she isn't. She is a former UKIP candidate and a YouTube sensation. How many people watch this on YouTube?
I've had nearly 1 million views on YouTube.
Whoa! And I hope they're all tuned in to break the news tonight. Mandy, we don't know whether she's a Brexiteer or not, but after...
Look, have a guess. Have a guess.
What
She believes in her country.
I believe in Britain.
Yeah. I remember one time Jerry Hayes telling me he couldn't vote for Tony Blair because he was even more right-wing... Oops, somebody's fallen over. Right-wing than Margaret Thatcher.
Me.
Yeah, OK, fine. Mandy, what is this song called?
It's called We Voted Leave.
And did you write this yourself?
I wrote the words myself, yes. I have Pink to thank for the tune.
Oh, good. Well, let's hear it. Let's take it away. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Mandy.
We voted leave, so you better get this party started. We voted leave, so you better get this party started. Casting off the red tape and reclaiming our fish. Still like Belgian chocolates, 'cause they're really delish. Sending out a message to our EU friends. Still exporting vaccine, importing Mercedes-Benz. Still good friends with Europe outside of the EU. If you voted Remain, you just haven't a clue. We voted Leave, so you better get this party started. We voted Leave, so you better get this party started. Democracy is precious, far too precious to lose. For us, others, bias is what we need to choose. Donald Tusk is freaking 'cause we voted Leave fast. Tell him, Mr. Juncker, you'll be kissing my ass. United States of Europe is not where we belong. But we're good friends and neighbours, so we'll still get along. We voted Leave, so you'd better get this party started. We voted Leave, so you'd better get this party started. Get this party started. Get this party started. Get this party started. Let's leave.
More! Come on, Mandy, come back here. I'll keep your seat warm. Thank you very much indeed. That was excellent. Come here, Mandy. Thank you very much. Lovely. Thank you. There we are. It's a continental kiss, by the way. Ricky.
She said no tongues.
James.
Yes, Ricky.
Well, we'll
Did
start
they like
off.
it or not, Ricky?
Oh, God.
Come on.
Well, we'll start off with L. Dave, who says Ginger Spice has had a hard life. Fiona Earnshaw, she says Jerry Halliwell is back as a solo artist again, I see. Tom F on Facebook says it's a no from me, Simon. And Root Wilson says the lyrics are ace. Don't know about the singing.
Our next Eurovision Song Contest entry.
I tell you, if that was the next Eurovision Song Contest, I reckon we'd win.
Yep.
Can I make a point? Because you said in that, I love Europe. I love going to Europe. I love European people of different cultures. But like most Europeans now, I've realised that the European Union is just completely out of control and not democratic.
It is.
And we need to lead the way with a new development. in
It's
Europe.
just a supranational government. You love the people, you love the countries, you love everything. That's why millions of Brits go there on holiday.
Just
Exactly.
a moment.
Shall we just listen
Mr.
to a
Juncker.
Remainer,
Yes.
Mr. Jerry Hayes?
Yes, Mr. Juncker is actually democratically elected by the European Parliament, who can actually get rid of him and the Commission.
Even Juncker said the election of the new one a month ago was pretty undemocratic
It was
and the
her
end
on
of the
the
process.
Who voted for the
Honestly.
foreign
And that's what
secretary?
made me change my mind.
It's
Quite
like the
right.
way
Well done,
we elect our
James.
cabinet. Anyway,
Sean,
gosh,
do you want to reply to Jerry Hayes over here? I mean,
he
honestly.
wants to
No.
be nice to
No.
Boris, doesn't he? No, look, he's got to be
Hold
loyal to remain in the party.
Hold on. My job is not to be nice to Boris. My job is to represent the people of London. I've done it all the time.
They voted Remain.
More people voted to leave than voted for Khan, if you want to put it that way. The point is this, right? If you're involved in politics, you have to be able to represent people who don't share your view. And the thing I find when I talk to Londoners, the thing they're most interested about, housing, crime, transport. They don't talk to me about Europe. They talk to me about our future.
will if they
They
lose
want
their
to
jobs.
know. They want to know what we're going to do next and how I plan to keep them safe.
Well said.
Nick, tell me, if we left the
What do you mean
European
if?
Union tomorrow,
Yes.
what did I
Oh,
say?
you said if we leave the
No.
European Union. We
When-
are leaving.
I'm sorry.
No,
when
on the
we leave
31st.
on the 31st, maybe before if we're lucky, and we don't do a deal, what do you think will happen the week after?
Well, actually, I think there's going to be this huge sense of anticipation. And if you look at how the Germans, the French, they planned to try and keep it exactly as it is going through the customs. Not me saying that. That's the French port owners, that's the French politicians up there. Even Germany said it today. The truth of the matter is, I think there will be disruption if you have no deal. It will be logistical disruption. My main fear, actually, is that because Philip Hammond just didn't do his job, that a lot of businesses are still not prepared. 1/3 have only, if you like, registered for the necessary export registrations and things. So actually, we've got a huge job to do to get the
You
businesses up to
blame
speed.
Philip Hammond a lot for that?
Well, I do, because this guy made... I sat in the department when we were preparing what were called technical notices, advice about no deal. Which departments did all the problems and the pushback come from? BEIS, the business department under Greg Clark, and Philip Hammond in Treasury. I mean, their heart was, shall we say, not in
What
it.
do you think about those Conservative members of Parliament who are saying they would do a deal with Jeremy Corbyn to bring down Boris Johnson?
Well, I find it extraordinary that any Conservative could even consider putting Jeremy Corbyn in power. It is quite
going to.
extraordinary.
But
Doesn't
they
matter.
might.
No.
Jerry, that wasn't the question, because the point is, Guto B, for example, came out and basically said we should be talking to Jeremy Corbyn. No, you shouldn't be. I'd think again, Guto.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, Parliament has not got the taste for a no-deal Brexit. It is not going to go through. And the very thought...
What do you think
that the
Parliament's
Democratic-
going to do if there is no deal on the 31st of October? Because Boris says we're going to leave. Our Prime Minister says we're going to leave. A
that's-
lot
It's
of
not
members of
going
Parliament
to
say...
happen because we believe in parliamentary democracy, parliamentary
But
sovereignty.
democracy-
No. It's all very well because people say, "Oh no, but we've had the greatest
Manny,
election we've ever had in
sort
the
him out.
world."
It's the default position. We are going to leave on the 31st.
We're not going to leave on the
It's the
31st.
it's the
Parliament
default
won't allow it to
Man-
happen. That's
Man-
what
But
you guys fought for.
No, you'd have to have Boris lose a vote of no confidence, and that's not going to happen.
Yes, it
because
will. It could happen.
Jeremy Corbyn will insist it's him,
is
and he will not
it
be
is
able to command the House.
misunderstand constitutional law. The fact of the matter
Nobody
is...
understands constitutional
Well, let
law.
me do it now, and I won't even charge you. Right. What did I say? I'm not going to charge you. 100 guineas. Look, let me do it in about 20 seconds.
Hang on. Why on earth do you think that the voice of the people, and I voted to remain,
Oh, yeah.
but now I've changed my mind,
Yeah.
the majority of people in this country
Yeah.
want to leave.
Yeah.
What is democratic about the elected representatives trying to say
But
no?
you see, this is
Elected
where everyone is
representatives are being
getting it
quizzlings.
wrong.
They're trying to go against the public.
No.
Yes.
All we're saying is not that Brexit should be abandoned. I think it should go ahead. I would fight for it to go ahead because we live in a democracy. There has
So
now
you
been
would-
a
you want-
conflation.
you
Just a
wanted
moment.
Theresa
There's
May's deal, then?
No. There is a conflation
But
between
supposing
all...
they don't want to agree a deal, are we
They
just
want
going
to agree a deal.
Well,
we
it
want
might
to
not be
get
okay
this
with us.
sorted. The country wants to get it sorted.
There was no talk of a
People's
deal in the
jobs-
referendum. It was, do you want to stay in the
There was
European
plenty
Union
of
or do
talk
you
about
want
a
to
deal.
leave?
Every single not every single candidate, because there weren't candidates.
David
but
Cameron
parties-
said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime
Yes.
vote.
He did.
In or out, no
Yes.
argument, and if the people of this country vote
Yes.
to leave, that is what
Everyone
we will do.
Everyone
leave.
wanted
They
a
didn't vote-
deal.
They didn't
No,
vote
no,
with-
Tosh, this is
Everyone
Tosh.
wanted
a deal.
Jerry,
You're rewriting history.
You
I'm
not
are
rewriting.
You are rewriting
you are
history.
not a mind reader on this. The only thing we know is what was voted for in the ballot paper. We can argue the toss about who said what and
Who
didn't.
argued for
but let
no
me go
deal?
let me go to the democratic point you're making, okay?
Yeah.
Because Parliament, when we elect our MPs, they get in there as representatives.
Yeah, yeah.
I get that. But on this one occasion, Parliament said we are delegating the decision to the people.
We never said that.
He did.
I'm sorry,
He was very
Jerry.
It's just so
clear.
wrong.
Jerry,
It was an
we are
advisory referendum, unlike the...
we are delegating the decision to the people.
no,
Every
no.
leader
I've
said,
never
what
said that.
you do, we will implement.
David Cameron
Je-
has said
we spent
that.
9
Said
million
that.
quid
Look, Nick,
telling people
Nick,
in their
we're actually at
leaflets.
one in many ways. The decision has to be respected, but the wheels mustn't come off the economy in so doing. I don't want to stop Brexit. Neither does Philip Hammond.
do
Neither
want
does...
to-
I
Yes,
don't-
he does.
But this is nonsense. We
Philip
want to
Hammond
stop a
wants to stop
no-deal
Brexit.
Brexit,
Philip Hammond
which will
wants to stop any
destroy
Brexit.
the economy. That's what the Bank of England says. That's what every economist
then-
says.
Well,
That's
tell
what
me-
the
hang
Monetary
on.
Fund says.
In
That's
that-
what
just
every
calm-
expert says.
calm-
But these guys...
Not every
never-
expert says that
Calm
at
down.
all.
All right, calm
Okay.
down.
Not every expert
Matron,
says that.
Matron.
Your heart, just calm down.
Mervyn King, the former leader of the Bank of England, is all for Brexit.
Well, there's
And
nothing
he
wrong
must be
with
an
being
expert.
all for Brexit. I don't object to that at all. It's
I'm going to
perfectly
bring a
respectable
halt
view.
to this subject for
Okay.
this week
All
because
right.
it'll go on next week
Yes,
and you guys will
it'll
be
go on
invited
forever.
back. I want to finish the programme
Yeah.
with this story. Front page of the Times the other day, Steve Coogan escaped a driving ban because he's a celebrity.
That's ridiculous.
And it's not true. I disagree with that summary of it,
Go on.
right? And I'm going to declare
That
an
was the
interest
headline.
here.
Oh, go on.
I have used that defence he used myself.
You're a celebrity.
Boys own,
No.
Nick the boys own.
No, they're very good. For a Z list, I wouldn't even be a Z list. I have used the defence that he used, which is exceptional hardship. And you can use that, Jerry, as you know, when you go in there.
Yeah,
now,
we can get shows
the
out.
reason, no,
You can get
He drives himself to the set, does he?
Because
Get
what
away.
he's actually pointing out, he made the case. It's up to the court to decide whether the
course it
case
is.
is right.
Yeah.
But it is a legitimate defence.
Of course it
In
is.
my case, I had to prove that it would cause not exceptional financial hardship, but hardship to complete a job.
Is that
Well, so
what
you
your
ran
book's
it. You
about?
ran it.
So I ran that
least you're being
defence,
honest.
and I got that
I
defence.
don't
It's
agree with
perfectly
it.
legitimate. It is a
It's a
legitimate,
legitimate defence.
I have a barrister here who's on my side. This is
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to change the law.
I don't believe it was because he's a celebrity that they granted him that. It's because I think they managed to convince the court that a lot of people would not be employed because they wouldn't go ahead with the
Okay,
film.
all
Believe
right.
that or not.
We're going to have to wrap it up because we've run right out of time. Nick's got a book out which is called...
Confessions of a Recovering MP.
Yeah, and it's well worth reading, Jerry. So thank you very much.
An
indeed.
unexpected
Do we
MP.
have a couple of very quick?
Very quick, Johnny J, he's giving you a lot of love for changing your mind on Brexit, so well
Thank
done,
you, Johnny.
James, if that's
Thank
where
you.
you're inclined.
Thank you.
And
We'll try
finish
and
with,
get him to.
We'll finish with Helen, who says perhaps for next week you can invest in auto-tune.
Okay. James Wales Break the News is back in 2 weeks' time on Friday on the 30th of August. I hope you can join us then. In the meantime, my thanks to the panel. After the news, I'll be back on the radio. Join me then. Give me a call. Thank you.